I raised this alarm on the 7th.
Yes, you had a motion. You moved the motion, yeah.
The motion is titled The Urgent Need to Correct the Misconception Going On, where American senator wants Nigeria to be reclassified again as CPC, because we have been on that list when Obama, these guys were.
Well, even Trump. I mean, in Trump's first administration, we were in that list.
But then we were lifted, and that was when we were struggling to get, when the attack of the insurgents, the terrorists, was at its peak, and we desperately needed air support, and, like Tucano. Lee Law prevented us from getting that. And Buhari has to go to Washington, meet with Donald Trump, then convince him. Because I remember he told me then that Donald Trump looked at him in the face and said, "You are there and they are killing Christians. What the hell is going on?" And Buhari, being a calm person, allowed Trump to vent out. And he said, "Look, this is not what's going on." And he went him through and with proof. I remember that Nigerian top government officials had to go even before ICC to defend Nigeria as to those allegations then. I remember Simon Lalong was the governor of Plateau. He had to go there because there were killings in Plateau too. But surprisingly, when I brought this motion, this government, was really more of indifferent about it, and they were treating it with levity. And look at what is going on now. All have been diverted to making noise, and you don't.
Well, it's a reactionary thing, isn't it? They've now become, rather than being proactive, to have dealt with it.
Yeah.
On the strength of the motion that people like you put out.
And you remember that this whole problem came out from the American Congress. That is the same as National Assembly in here, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But did you hear National Assembly here doing anything?
Reacting to it.
Reacting to it.
Officially
or proactively. Yeah. When I brought the motion, even the prayers of the motion were stood down, and they said they had set a committee to look at the motion. And look at what has happened now.
That's a very good point. And the US lawmaker Riley Moore is warning the Nigerian government not to test the resolve of the US government under President Trump. He warned that others who had tested the resolve of the Trump administration had failed, and that President Trump had provided forewarning: if you do not correct the current state of inaction, the days of the US looking the other way are over. Those are the words of Riley Moore. He says, "We will not allow the gates of hell to prevail against the faithful." That sounds scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's the American stuff, One thing good about them is, as they issue these strong warnings, is honestly because they have only had the one side. They didn't hear the other side. And actually, what happened to Christians in Benue State, especially recently, with this town, where I think about 200 people were massacred, and they were buried in a
mass grave.
Anybody that sees that is gruesome, and you cannot, But if you look at, let me give you an example. I'm not trying to say, look, those are sad, but all life matters.
Yeah.
In my own village.
That's in Borno State.
In Borno State, our emir was killed by Boko Haram on a street when he was going to Gombe for the condolence of the emir of Gombe that died. In my own local government, elders that were reading Quran, Quranic elders that were reading Quran, 75 of them were taken to slaughterhouse in my village by Boko Haram, and they were slaughtered one after the other. Only one of them escaped because the blood of others covered him, and then he fainted, so they thought he is dead. In my own town, they went to Tijaniya's, just near my father's house. There is one Sheikh Babara, we call him, has 20 of his students slaughtered by Boko Haram. They were lined up like that.
And they're all Muslims.
And they are all Muslims, not only Muslims, but the man is Sheikh, but he is of a different faith. The Boko Haram call themselves Izalatul Bidya wa Ikamati, whatever. But those ones are Tijaniyas. They lined them up. And those that I told you, elderly people, none of them was less than 60. And you can imagine if you have to bury them. In fact, we could not bury them. All we did was to gather their bones, because that time Goza was not accessible at all. So if you look at it on the other side, you see the killings going on. Look at the killings going on in Southeast. By who? It's not by the jihadis, by IPOP. And they're killing who? Christians and Igbos, their own. So this kind of madness that is happening, the government is supposed to take drastic steps.
Yeah. Although they argue that in the southeast there's also been infiltration from Fulani groups there who are also carrying out their own killings. But yeah, you have a point there. But I mean, are you surprised or perhaps shocked that this is coming from a President Trump, who prides himself on stopping wars? I mean, that's what he said he was coming to do, because his tone here is very aggressive, isn't it? I mean, he's threatening to send US forces into Nigeria with, as he put it, guns a-blazing, if Nigeria doesn't stem what he describes as this killing of Christians by Islamists.
Swift and whatever.
Swift, vicious and sweet.
Donald Trump is used to that kind of a thing, and that's why the leadership of Nigerian government also will be tested. That is how you respond to it. I told you what happened between him and late President Buhari. And he later came out to say that he respects President Buhari because...
Although he said Buhari put him off to sleep, though. I mean, he was so desperately boring that he thought he was talking to, you know.
That is Trump for you. He can insult anybody and later on praise anybody. Yeah. So, but this is a serious case, you know, considering the fact that Nigerians, there is a gap in there between the government of not only Nigeria, because recently, before I came here, I understand Canada has joined them.
Yeah, Canada has.
UK
in condemning what is going on in Nigeria.
No, not in condemning, but believing.
Yeah. In fact, the Canadian person who spoke was very explicit about Christian genocide.
The minority leader there in the Canadian. The UK House of Lords are also bought into this. We don't know what is happening in Germany and others. Well, you see, if you allow small problem like this to grow up, it can do unrepairable damage.
Absolutely.
So why don't you avoid that by taking those actions? Like, look, Charles,
it's partly the arrogance of power. We don't listen to anybody else.
Yeah, this thing started in the U.S. Congress, and we have National Assembly here. I told them during the motion, it takes 10 hours to get to US from here, and it takes Mr. President a phone call to ask for audience with Donald Trump. And we have reputable international diplomats in the country, starting from Sulu Gambari, Akinyemi,
Emeka
Anyoku, Amina is there. We had the president of United Nations, somebody from KB, I can't remember his name. I know so many international diplomats that have contacts, that can reach out to anybody, former presidents, congressmen, and we have the Senate here. We have the Senate president. They have we have the speaker. And there are people that are sitting down there.
But in fairness to the Tinubu government, I spoke to some of them just literally a few hours ago at very high levels, and they say they've opened direct communication with the White House with regard to this, that they are now, Aso Rock in Abuja is now in direct communication at the very highest levels with the White House.
Why does that have to take you 2 years?
Yeah, but that's what they said they've done. I mean, so they say they're trying to manage the crisis.
What is manage the crisis? These are people, the government of Tinubu came in, 2.5 years ago or so. Do you know that we don't have ambassadors anywhere?
Yeah, that bit is a bit worrying.
Do you know that we don't have a representative in the UN? I mean, let's say it as it is. And the government should really, I don't like saying this on the TV too, but do you know why? That's the only way I can vent out.
It's important that you say these things.
Yeah, because I don't have chance to see the president. You understand? The only time maybe you want to see the president is to run where he's going to, have any event. And maybe if the president sees you, say, oh, Ndume, this is how they run the government. And I'm telling you, they don't have people in there. They don't have people. You know why I said they don't have any people? If you, Charles, go in anywhere now, out of 10 people, 5 or 6 or 7 will say, this is Charles from Arise TV. But you have people, I said before, they said Ndume is being abusive. It's true that the government is dominated by kakistocrats. I want to repeat that again. And then kleptocrats, all they are concerned about, if you want to see the president, they will ask you how much.
That is, if that is true, then that is.
Do you think I'll come here and lie?
No, I'm just saying that's a shame. That is a disgusting,
and people
appalling shame.
Now, if I say, I wrote to them, I asked them, I want to see the president to discuss some national issues. Then they will be playing games and as if you are going to heaven. No.
But I mean, in your considered assessment, how likely is it that Donald Trump is going to do what he's saying? I mean,
no, he's going to change his mind.
Because I mean, is it all rhetoric rather than?
No, it's not rhetoric. Don't take America for granted. Don't. Look, Charles, the whole world were against Israel. It's only America that was behind Israel, and they won. They brought down Gaza, did a lot sorts of, inhuman treatments. But yet, because America is behind it, they had to wait for Trump to finish addressing the Israelites and went to Egypt to sign the ceasefire agreement. America is not a joke. Anybody that is telling you here, talking from Prime TV, is this your prime time, coming to prime time to split nonsense, it's not even hard in America, you know that. Because if you have to watch this program in America, you have to pay for it. It's on the cable, isn't it? It's not like
it's a subscription.
It's a subscription viewing. It's not like our own that you switch your TV. But even our own, I don't know whether you're on this. You have
no, but to be fair, we do have an audience, not as big as in Nigeria, obviously, but a growing audience in America. But to support what you're saying, Senator, there are Nigerians serving in the U.S. military who have said that the Nigerian government should take very seriously indeed President Trump's warning that President Tinubu should either rein in Islamist militant groups like Boko Haram, ISWAP, etc., or risk U.S. military action. They say, these are their words, we are in the U.S. Army and we can feel the heated pulse there. There is no cautious, deliberative approach under the U.S. administration, and this is a government that prefers to shoot first and ask questions later when it comes to perceived global threats. And the former U.S. Army Captain Bish Johnson, also emphasized that point because he was in the U.S. Army, so he kind of understands their mentality. He says they are aggressive and unrestrained. Just look at what they're doing in Iran, Venezuela, Colombia, with a show of force. How do you think Senator, the Nigerian government should now engage with the Americans?
You know, Nigerian government have all opportunities. Number one is in the American democratic setup, you know, they are what they call the lobbyists. These are people that have contact with high levels. These are people that can talk to Donald Trump and he will listen. Donald Trump is surrounded by some influential people that they think are like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and all those guys. Are people that can, and even with our president with the right buttons and with these characters, leadership that I told you they were blessed with, the former UN, Commonwealth Secretary General, is respected all over the world. Kingibe is known, you know, yes. This guy, even in the military sector, General Gusso is an intelligence man that has a lot of contacts worldwide. Babangida himself, and we have so many people in Nigeria that can come in. But these are guys that cannot and will not ask for appointment with Mr. President to see Mr. President. Mr. President, for example, should have called...
Should go and seek them out.
Yes, not only seek them out, but no, he can call them in. Like he can call an emergency, what do you call it? State council meeting, you know, where all our elders will come, and then you can pick volunteers, and he has a big aircraft. He can send them out to go and explain these positions. Convince. One good thing about an American, including Donald Trump, they have only had one side now, and they have seen it. But if you give them the other side of the information truthfully, facts, figures, and truth, they will accept it, because truth is like that. No matter how you...
And presumably they're reasonable people.
They are. Actually, they are. In fact, I was saying that instead of crying out of labeling us as CPC, that is countries of particular concern, we should ask America to brand us as CSP, country of special concern, so that they give us what is needed in order to finish with this criminality and all that is...
But I mean, of course, the focus is now on Nigeria. So beyond just the issue of, you know, whether Christians are being killed or not, the spotlight, I mean, you mentioned all the other countries, the UK, Canada, and so on, big countries that are now looking at this country. Is this an opportunity for Nigeria to acknowledge historical wrongs in this country, not just against Christians, but against ethnic groups and minorities, against things like corruption, which has wasted the lives and opportunities of so many, the stealing of elections, the imposition of leaders on the people that they did not choose, etc.? Is this an opportunity for sort of mea culpa in this country?
That is what I see. If you accept that you have a problem, and in fact magnify the problem, because to Americans it's narrow. The problem is narrow, that it is only the Christians that are being targeted. And it is high time we open up to say, no, majority of Nigerians, especially the poorest and the middle income, the genocide, as we call it, is against the poor, it's against the middle income.
There's oppression.
There's oppression against, with the Christians and the poor Muslims, all of those.
But you see, the other thing that has drawn attention in places like America, beyond the killings, is that they say that in the northern states, you come from a northern state, that are dominated...
Yes, sir. Concerning this Christian genocide that is going on now, many politicians, many politicians, they come out, they call it deliberate concerning this matter, you understand? Because when I listen to them, now the same thing that they talk. The issue is that they don't want to accept, say, there's a Christian genocide, but they accept, say, they accept, say, people they pay, you understand, every time, you understand? So, okay, we not say people they pay every time, Okay, wait till now come they defend now. Make una listen to what this Senator Ali Ndume talk, you understand? He say for Trump to involve in Nigeria issue, you understand? He say that it's a act of ignorance. Can you imagine? Okay, you wanna tell me between Donald Trump and Nigeria leaders, who they ignorant pass? Not be now, because none of it solve the problem. None of it solve the problem. You understand? This is a big shame to our Nigerian leaders. None of it solve the problem. Allow international leader to involve. It's a big disgrace. It's a big disgrace. Make my you accept. The most important, the funny thing is that all those neutral leaders, now that be the problem of this issue. Now that because now all those say that now they all this thing for the involve, all these things for the happen, all this buying of the for the happen, but they don't want to accept. They see they cover up. You understand? You shall say this country before Nigeria do okay, it go hard because a lot of corruption is going on. A lot of corruption is going on. A lot of corruption is going on. We all know. All this one be fact. Nothing. None of you had anything at all. None of you had anything. No matter anything. No matter how no one defend this issue reach. Truth must be told. You understand? You understand? Thank God say, it and date. They say everything. You understand? Not fear anything for US. Not fear anything for them. Enough is enough. Well, I don't mind talking too much for this video because I don't want to make this video too long. I bet when I make sure this video, I want to drop it on the conversation. I'm for more updates. One of Sugar Boy.